Yo, what up? Welcome to another episode of the Oakland Warriors podcast. I'm Patrick, flying solo. So yesterday, Thursday, we found out that Steph Curry, with his shoulder injury, is going to be reevaluated in a couple weeks. And he doesn't need surgery as of now. And that's a positive, that's a positive from some of these sports medicine doctors that tweet about this stuff and who, do YouTube videos about injuries and everything, especially in street clothes. They talked about how this is kind of a normal injury. It's good that he doesn't need surgery yet, but it's also an injury that when you mention somebody like Paul George having something similar, you want to be cautious about it because you don't want it to linger. You don't want him to rush back and then have it be aggravated, have it be something where he has to get surgery in the middle of the season. You don't want to bring him back too soon, right? So to me, if he gets reevaluated in a couple of weeks, this team has always been about erring on the side of caution, like an abundance of caution, as they should, especially with their Hall of Fame all-time player. I think that he's going to be out at least a month. It seems like, some people say that this is kind of a 3 to 4 week injury anyway. But if he's out for a month, then maybe he's out even a little bit longer because of all of those precautions. But just looking at the situation now, it's it's kind of a bummer. The Warriors, they are one game under 500. They're playing the Sixers this evening, and it's going to be an interesting test. I'm hoping that the Sixers, knowing that Steph is out, that they're going to maybe, take the foot off the gas and give the Warriors an opening to try to steal one here. But it's going to be rough goings on this road trip. I said it would have been nice to have packed away some wins, instead of being one game under 500. Yes, I understand that it's a long season, but hey, I would rather have them be 5 games over 500 right now than 1 game under. That being said, this road trip, we knew it was going to be rough, and it continues. No one's going to feel sorry for the Warriors. They didn't in 2019. They didn't in 2020, 2021. They're going to keep coming after them. You look at the Warriors schedule, and, this road trip, again, continues with Philly and then Toronto, the Knicks, and then the Nets. And then it's Christmas, and you get the Memphis Grizzlies on Christmas Day, primetime game. And that's going to be really, really intense. But then after that, the Warriors are at home for a series of games, and that takes you to January 10th. That being said, there's a lot of unknowns here, but if you're a true longtime Warriors fan, there's a lot of intrigue here. There's a lot of curiosity here. And let's see what we got with these young dudes, right? The Warriors, they recalled James Wiseman and Ryan Rollins from the DLee. Patrick Baldwin Jr. was already on this road trip. So all the rookies, the young dudes, the lotto picks, they're all traveling with the team now. They're not necessarily all going to get a ton of playing time, because you still have Draymond, Klay, Andrew Wiggins, Kevon Looney out there. And I think I read a report that Draymond might not play in this Philly game. So that's another thing. But this team has pride. This team has culture. And it's going to be an interesting road in the sense that let's see the progress, like we're not expecting, at least I'm not expecting, to blow through these games when Steph is gone and have a great record. That's just an obvious fact. So, hey, if they end up surprising, all the more better. But if you go in with those expectations and go in with the goal of seeing these young guys really, really take shape, really, really get away in the sense of using Steph as just like the fail safe, right? Where it's on their shoulders to help this team win, then that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm always hoping for. This isn't like in 2019 when Klay was already injured and Steph broke his hand and there was like nobody on the roster that you really cared about. I didn't care about D'Angelo Russell. He was not a winning player. You had a rookie, Eric Paschall. You had a rookie, Jordan Poole, who was not very good as a rookie. And so it was just a bad team. But this team has, young guys like Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, James Wiseman, PBJ, Ryan Rollins. Again, they're not going to win you a ton of games right off the bat, but bear with and ride it out, because to me, this is a golden opportunity to get these guys reps, to have them flourish. This is a chance to see how they can really, really, really affect a game without relying on Steph Curry. Plain and simple. It's not ideal. It's not what I would want. Obviously, I would want Steph in these games and performing and, chasing an MVP and trying to get this team right. But that's not the hand we're dealt right now. So, I've always talked about the homegrown talent, the young dudes, and giving them an opportunity. And hopefully when they get a chance, they can take advantage of it. But, look at it, right? Talked about Moses Moody after the previous game. And he's somebody who hasn't cracked the rotation. He gets an opportunity now because just everybody in that guard depth chart gets moved up. And, Kerr was rolling out Anthony Lamb and Ty Jerome out there because he was trying to win games with guys who were maybe more solid. I think it's kind of like ridiculous that in the previous game that there was a lineup that just blew like a 10-point lead that had Anthony Lamb and Ty Jerome on the court over Kuminga and Moody. But hey, it is what it is. But I think at this point, it's like Moody better either earn his way past those guys, or Kerr should put him out there because you have to let him grow. This is an opportunity. Like, if you're not going to win a ton of these games, this is a prime chance to get those guys real NBA minutes in the middle of a season. That's just it. And hopefully Moody does some of the things that Kerr's wanted him to do more. It's been talked about that he's looked good in shoot arounds and practice, whatever, and allow him to move up the depth chart, plain and simple, right? This is his chance. Jonathan Kuminga, obviously he's been looking good, been talking about that for so long, and he gets even more responsibility. He'll get some spot starts in this stretch of games when Steph is out, and, we'll see what the rotations are. Donte DiVincenzo looks great. That's another dude who is young, but is a vet. Obviously, he's not Steph, but that's another guy. Again, you're not stuck with like bad players. It's not like Brad Wanamaker is filling in as your starting point guard or anything like that. To me, there's purpose in these next few weeks. The purpose is to get some run for these dudes. And who knows, fingers crossed, knock on wood, that if and when Steph comes back fully healthy, all of a sudden you have these young dudes who are now ready to help you win. Kuminga was already there. He's been there for a couple weeks now. And Moody maybe was getting close. And then Wiseman, we've talked about how good he's looked in the G League. It's funny because when Wiseman was a rookie, I remember thinking like, oh, I want to see how he performs against the best centers in the league. And I was really curious to see how he performed against Joel Embiid. And they didn't play his rookie year. And so this is the first chance that he gets to play against Joel Embiid. And, I'm a Wiseman believer, and he's been looking good in the G League, but it's a big step up from going from Jay Huff of the South Bay Lakers to Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers. So I know it just won't be all on him. I don't think he's going to get the starting nod, of course, but it will be an opportunity for him to show out. I do think that the plan was to slow play Wiseman a little bit longer originally when Steph was still healthy, and then have him come in on that long homestand for extra time in the G League, and also so he wouldn't get blamed for a bunch of losses on this road trip. But all that's out the window. It's like you need bodies, and you have an opportunity and you have a chance to run these guys out there. Let's do it. And hopefully we get Andrew Wiggins back soon. I think that's obviously a big deal. And all season long, I've been saying he's been the Warriors' second most consistent player this season. And I guess by default, that all of a sudden makes him the Warriors' best player right now. But it will be definitely by committee. And this is Klay's chance too. He'll get more shots and he'll get more of a chance to take a leadership role on this team night in, night out. And then also, of course, Jordan Poole, who's had a couple of bad games. Hopefully he can right the ship. And then, you think about last season when Steph went out with the foot injury after Marcus Smart rolled on his foot, and the Warriors played decently, right? They were kind of iffy for a while. And then Jordan Poole had a breakout month before the playoffs. I know it's a different situation. It's a different spot, but those guys are still there. And obviously, I think it's too early to write off the season. Warriors fans, a lot of them might be bemoaning this team and its fortunes as of late. But like I said, if you're a long-time fan, a long-term fan from the past and into the future, you have to be really, really interested in seeing how these guys play out. Like, don't get me wrong, if it were like, sorry to bring up Brad Wanamaker all the time, but if it was like random dudes like Wanamaker or Oubre or, Smiley Geach out there, then maybe the interest wanes a little bit. But, there are these top level prospects that, okay, let's see how good you are. Even Rollins and Baldwin, they'd been showing out in the G League. Again, it's the G League, but hey, that's some progress for those dudes. And Rollins even had a triple-double down there. So it's not anything that the Warriors wanted. It's not anything that any of us wanted, but it ain't over, of course. There's a uphill battle to be fought, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. It's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows and stuff. It's going to be rough for a while, especially when people, they're already gunning for the Warriors, but when they see them down, just like in the down years between finals appearances, people will be coming after them. So, it's next man up, and let's see if these guys can truly develop into a strength in numbers type team. We talk about how the Warriors don't have Gary Payton II and Otto Porter Jr. and, even guys like JTA and Damian Lee. But I will just say, to remind you, that Gary Payton II has not played a game for the Blazers yet. He'll be coming back soon, I think. But hypothetically, like, that could have been the Warriors scenario, right? And then Otto Porter Jr., he's only played 8 games. He's had some injury issues, and that was something that followed him when the Warriors signed him last year. And again, not knocking these dudes. I'd love to have the versions of them from last season, but these are things that could have happened to them as well here. And then Scott Anderson, he's only played 14 games for a bad to maybe starting to be mediocre Lakers team. And he's had injury issues, but also he just hasn't played much. Like, the one guy who's had a huge effect so far on his team is Damian Lee. He's looked good and he's been healthy. So, wouldn't mind having some of his shots and some of his veteran acumen and just role player, like, chutzpah, you know what I mean? But it wouldn't be all fine and dandy if everybody was still back here. And again, who's to say, some of those injuries might not have been as bad, but like, not knowing the specifics of it, it feels like, GPT would have been out, and who knows? Whatever happened to Otto Porter Jr. might not have happened on the Warriors, but just saying. Anyway, that's not a huge point of contention, but like, this is an opportunity, a very, very big opportunity. This is an opportunity for every single dude on the team to kind of step up. And I talked about the young dudes, but it's also about the vets. I mean, I'm personally excited. I'm anxious, but it's going to be a fun ride. I don't know. That's just me. Is it Wiseman season? Who knows? Hey, everybody says Wiseman could not play with Steph. Guess what? Steph's not there. So maybe he can figure out how to make a difference on this team. Sure, they'll still be running the same offense, but maybe there's tweaks to it that Steve Kerr can add to accommodate Wiseman, or Wiseman just has learned in the G League to do the simple things that they've always needed him to do. Be a big body in the lane, rebound, block shots, change shots, lobs, putbacks, all that stuff. The simple things. Maybe he's done that, and it looks like he has. I've talked about how he looks more intentional about what he's doing. He's not just kind of lollygagging and playing some random game. It's like he's very focused. So that's what they need from him. And I look forward to seeing that, fingers crossed for him to get Joel Embiid in any of those minutes, because he'll have to get those. But, we'll see. We'll see where we go. All right. That's all I got for now. See you after the Sixers game.